Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you are all here. First thing I want to do is do a shout out and a thank you to all the channel members. Thank you all more than you know. I appreciate you so much. And thank any of you who've come in to check out the knife, the EDC content. I really appreciate it. If you're so inclined and you like the knife and EDC content that I'm putting out, if you'd hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon, it would really help me out. So today I wanted to look at the top kind of tiny knives that are in my collection. I think they're going to all come in under 5 inches. And this is not one of them. This is 4 3/4. This is a great little knife. This is the Kaiser Variable. I've got a review coming on this because I've not done a dedicated review to this little knife. But it's super handy. It's a little warny that you can hold just in a traditional grip. Or if you like that hold, if you're going to do harder cutting. What I like about it is it came set up. You can set it up with an ulti-clip. You can set it up with a chain. I carry it just like a wallet knife in my back pocket. But that's a cool little knife, a tiny knife, you know, one that you can get. And I'll try to leave links to some of these. But on Amazon, they even make it now in a hawkbill. So, small little knife, micarta handles, D2 blade, pretty basic. But as we go into some of the tinier knives that I really like, this one by Marlborough Handcraft, little USA made manufacturer who makes these little bitty, and he makes bigger knives too, but he makes this little prick, and that's the name of the knife. I'm not calling it a little prick, but it is an absolutely scalpel of a little knife. It is, I want to say it's ABL, and it's an absolute scalpel. Uh-oh, we've got a little issue, guys. I do apologize. We had a little interruption there. But yeah, this little prick, which I carry right now on my belt, is an absolute screaming, poking, slicing beast. It is just a delightful little knife. It's a 3-finger knife. Does great in pinch grip, even though I didn't hold the paper right. Does great in a traditional grip. Little Slurpee saver grip if you needed to reach out there and use it for that. But just a delightful little USA made knife that's small, that's done by hand. Marlborough Handcraft does an amazing job, and the edge on this is so thin behind the edge. So one of my absolute top favorite small EDC fixies is going to be the little prick. And the little prick, I've been tempted to put an ulti-clip on, but I haven't done it yet. It's begging for a small ulti-clip, but it rides so well on my appendix. When you see these knives with a horizontal belt loop, you pretty much rest assured that I'll wear them on my belt directly to the right of my belt buckle. The ones with clips ride typically in my back pocket. And number 9, the one with chains, right around my neck. And yes, people say they're not the safest to wear them with a chain, but this is a breakaway chain. I've got a couple of other corded neck knives that have breakaway chains as well. But this is the Amsler Tools Hurricane Mini Razor. So I've got the standard mini razor. I've got the standard razor. This is the mini. This little guy is tiny. When I wear it as a neck knife, or more than not, if I'm wearing a button down, I'll take the chain off of it and I'll keep it in my shirt pocket like a ballpoint pen, just down in my shirt pocket. If I need to pull it out, I take it out. It's got a nice little thumb push off. And this particular one is an 80s speckled DLC, I think. I don't know what you'd call that. but it is MagnaCut at about 64 HRC. Amsler works with other blade steels as well. I've got a S35VN, it's my standard, but for package openers or little utility cutters, it's not going to be as thin behind the edge as the little prick, but it's going to be a very effective little street scalpel. Both edges are extremely sharp, and this has got a distinct too. But I love, two edges that is, but I love this little knife. I love my other Amsler tool, but since I was doing the tiniest top 10, I wanted to make sure I stuck with the tiniest top 10, right? And I apologize, but we might have another trespasser. I'm going to try to fend her off as we go to number 8. And number 8 is one of the smallest knives in this collection, and it's also one of my favorites. It can be worn as a neck knife. It can be worn with a small ulti clip. I carry it just in my back pocket. And it's this little S35VN Micro Jkal with Ultim handles. Perfectly balanced. Simple hand jimping. Short belly, but very slicey. Slicey, beautiful little art piece of a knife. I'm an absolute fan of all my Jkals, but this little tiny guy with this little tiny sheath is a hard one to beat. I love what he does, and this little guy is absolutely fantastic. And guys, when I talk about tiny knives, the knives I'm showing you guys here are all pretty tiny. Like I said, they're under 5 inches in most cases. This one comes in at 3.5. But it's effective. It's effective for opening Amazon packages. It's effective for cutting small stuff as a enhancement to my everyday carry. So that brings us, if I'm not mistaken, to number 7. And number 7 is the little Supurltive Hela. And the Supurltive Hela is a little full tang, like all these are, M390. Would be skeletonized if you took these carbon fiber, fat carbon fiber scales out, which add another probably 1/16 on each side, give you about an 1/8 inch of a handle. But it is a nice little box opener, slicer, laser beam of a knife that works great in a pinch grip. It's got a nice sheep's foot blade, works great with this 3-finger grip. I can wrap my 4th up here, and if I did a short lanyard coming off with a bead, it would give me even more purchase. But just really simple, well designed, well thought out. You've got this satin, belt satin blade, this lava flow, fat carbon inlays, which if I wanted to make this knife lesser or thinner, I could take those out. And it comes with this cool little leather sheath, which is a pocket dropper, which is kind of my jam. And this guy is, again, another tiny little knife, coming in right around 5 inches. So 5 inches, we might have a couple that come in a little bit over 5 inches, but we'll see. So this is going to come in, I think, as we said, number 7, which brings us to number 6, if I'm not mistaken. I apologize. I'm having to dodge around a furry back there. So this is another Jkal, guys. This is a micro Jkal, little custom Jkal that's got, in my opinion, what I would consider gripper type jimping. When you look at these jimps, this is hand jimped. You've got these micarta scales, these purple liners. This knife fits my hand absolutely fantastic. It is a thin, apologize for that, thin knife with a very pokey tip. So the way this knife flares out and gives you that tip to work with, I find just awesome. I love the hand jimping. I love the handmade scales. These are some of the first scales that Jason used some Torx bits for. So that's pretty cool, and I really like it. It's flat ground. I've got some tape on it. You've got belt satin, hand satin, and it's just an absolute little banger. Small little knife, probably going to come in right around 5 inches, and it's a little 5-inch guy, perfectly weighted, just nice grind, nice swoop on that tip, and just a favorite of mine. I carry it in this MKM slip that my Micros come in, because I've got a couple of carry kits for them, and the way I carry it, it's magnetic, so the knife sticks in the sheath when I put it in there, and then when I drop that over, it hooks onto the blade, and I've got a fully contained, either a neck knife if I want to carry it as a neck knife. I carry that in my back pocket. Which brings us number 5, which is a banger, and this is a beefy small knife. This is the Servant Knives Simpleton, and the Servant Knives Simpleton is a rugged blade, thick blade stock in 3V steel, and I'm happy to report that Servant Knives, I found him secretly on Instagram, and it says on his bio that he's going to start making knives again in 2024. So I'm not going to give any false information until I get confirmation from him. But this is the Servant Knives Simpleton. And again, it is absolutely gorgeous. What I think is really brilliant about this knife, besides the fact that it's thick, it's beefy, it's a little more substantial than a lot of my tiny knives. It's 5.5 inches, but this grip with this knot, which is full tank construction too, but it really locks in your 3 fingers, right? So with that knot and that jimping, where you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jumps, my hand's not going anywhere. So if I need to use that to pierce or to poke, I've got really stable in-hand grip and control of that little blade. So this is the Servant Knives Simpleton, coming soon. Keep an eye on the Instagram. I will, when I find out that these are being made again, I will definitely notify you guys through the channel, because I'm a huge fan of these knives. This is the only one I've experienced, but I would love to see what comes out of the lab next. So that is going to be number 5, which brings us to number 4, which is another Jkal that I traded for. And I love this little knife. This is another micro, or we can call it a mini Jkal, that has what I consider the gripper hand jimping. So the whole handle on the upper side is jimped. The bottom side, full tang, is smooth. S35VN. I love the way the top, the crown of this blade is, the jimps are carried over to give it that kind of rock pattern look up here on the top. The knife is balanced fantastically. It's a large, thick, but tiny little knife that is every bit as slicey as you'd ever need it to be to open packages or to protect the honor of your Slurpee, right? I love this one. Ultim handled again, which I'm usually not an Ultim guy, but I love them on Jason's knives because it exposes his weight relief, or his signature little coffin cutout there, which I think is really cool. And I'm a huge fan of this little knife. Again, this is a micro or mini Jkal, custom. I don't really have a model number. I know you can get one by DMing him. It's right at 5-inch. So a lot of these he has and works off of the 5-inch Jkals, or much bigger. 5 inches kind of towards the smaller size. But I love this knife. It came in this Lancelot leather, pocket dropper slip. I'm a big fan. I think it's huge, and it is going to be my number 4, or number 4. Wait, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. All right, so here's another number 4. We're going to have 2 number 4s. So this is a knife that I was convinced I would never carry because it has a leather lip or leather sheath that has this vertical strap. And I never thought, it's well made, by the way, as well, too. It's Bark River. But I carry this knife all the time. It is so small, and I carry it more at the 3 o'clock position over on my right hip, and it takes up absolutely no space. It's invisible. I don't even know it's there. And you've got this wonderful MicroCanadian, which is probably one of the best thought out design knives of my small fixies. I just love it. It would be an excellent skinner, an excellent trail knife. It's an excellent EDC knife. It's a therapeutic cutter. It's in 3V also. I think I already said that. This one is in micarta with green G10 handles. I'm sorry, I've kind of slipped off into my therapeutic cutting because, guys, this little knife is an absolute slicer. Look at that. That paper just jumps apart. But anyway, the MicroCanadian, again, green liner, black micarta handle, 3V blade steel. I don't know if you can see the black up here at the top. An excellent ferro rod striker. So this is a great little survival knife, or keeping your pocket knife if you keep a small ferro rod and you've got fire starting material on you. This knife, don't let its size fool you. It is perfectly set up for a ferro rod and for starting a fire. So that is the Bark River MicroCanadian, which then brings us to number 3. And number 3, I've got 2 of these, and there's several of these knives that I've got multiples of, but I'm only going to show the one I carry the most. And this is my little MKM Micra 1. This is the drop point MKM's smallest little fixed blade. This guy is tiny. I'm guessing it is going to be, well, it's bigger than I thought. It is right over 4¼ inches. It's a Vox designed. It's M390. It is a little single chunk of M390 that is balanced so well. I don't know if you can see that, but that is just balancing on one finger. You've got this nice jimping on the back, jimping on the blade, which really gives you a positive grip. So this knife is very slicey. It's great for opening packages. It's great in a pinch grip. It's great, heaven forbid, if you needed it to save a Slurpee. But when you put it on your belt, and this is one that I carry appendix style, right to the right of my my belt loop, you don't even know it's there. It doesn't stick out. It kind of just molds, at least with my waistline. Great little knife. The carry kit, which is extra. This comes in that little leather sheath like I showed you guys earlier that I'm reusing for my Jcal. But just a fantastic little micarta handle, M390 blade, minimalistic fixie that gets the job done. And it's the MKM Micra 1, which brings us to number 2. And number 2, guys, I've been wrestling with this because we've got number 2 and we've got number 1, or we've got number 1 and number 2, right? So I've got, as you guys know, several of the Jakeb Creates Jkals. And then I've got the one T.Kell Piranha. Well, the T.Kell Piranha is going to be a little larger knife because you've got larger handle. So we'll give this one the number 2 treatment for right now. But these are really a tie for number 1. This little knife does come in at 5 3/4, where the Jcal comes in right at 5. But this extra 3/4 is utilized all in the handle. So I've got the same blade on the Chikadee in terms of blade length. This one's S90V, flat ground, handmade, super sharp. Super pokey, as is the Piranha. Super sharp, super stabby. I love the swedge. This is all 80 CRV with God, I'm going blank on my chemical composition of the boride coating. Anyway, it looks stonewashed, but it's not. It's this special nickel boron coating that they use in the pew industry that cuts down on corrosion. It cuts down on wear. Actually increases the HRC because it bonds with the metal. Fantastic G10 grips. You've got this wonderful finger choil where I can get a full 4-finger grip on this knife. It is very tactical. It is very small. I carry it in my back pocket with this clip here. It's just an absolute winner. So you've got the T.Kell Piranha. You've got the Jakeb Creates Chikadee, which is a 3-finger knife, a little bit smaller on the grip, giving me the same performance in terms of blade length, right? 5 inches versus 5 3/4. So that's your number 1, number 2. Then you've got the MKM Micra 1, which is the drop point. The Micro 2 is the sheep's foot. I've got that guy too. And then you've got, let's take these out. I'm going to need to look at them in their sheaths. So again, these are my top tiny knives. And these all get carried on the regular. And that's why I love small fixed blades, because they don't take up much room and they're not taking up pocket space, because I'm rarely carrying them in a pocket that I would normally carry something else in. Because I'll typically keep my phone in the pocket, the rear pocket that doesn't have my fixed blade, unless I'm carrying my fixed blade on my belt, appendix style, right? And somehow we came out with 11 guys, and I did not plan to have 11 knives on here, and that didn't even count my honorable mention. Supurltive Hela, little micro Jkal. Try to squeeze these in here since I'm running out of space, but I've got some small knives here. Here's the Hurricane Razor Mini, and finally the Marlborough knives, little prick. So guys, 10 badass bangers right there. I love them. I'm so glad I got into the little EDC fixed blade craze. It's kind of turned into a sickness for me, but I love them. Guys, not nearly as much as I love spending time with y'all, hanging out, learning from you, learning my way through this whole knife game. It's because of you guys that I stay in it, right? It's a lot of fun. I appreciate each and every one of you, your dedication, your time, your just investing time in the channel. That's huge to me. I can't believe y'all watch. I appreciate you. I love you. I do ask y'all be up. Please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. And always choose debate, not hate. Be up. Thanks, Joe Isabella. I love you all. Peace.